Hey, you're listening to Don't Lie to Your Life Coach podcast with Kim Arrington. I'm Kim Arrington. I'm a life coach, a weight loss coach, an author, and a badass passionate about helping you connect back to your most authentic self. Join me here each week so I can coach you on how to think all those juicy thoughts that get you feeling your absolute best and taking some big ass action. Coaching has changed my life, and it can change your life too. I'm here to give you real life solutions to create a life you'll love. Because the truth is, boo, you ain't just got problems, you got options. Hey, hello. Hey, y'all. I have on a dress today. I got this, it's like a wrap dress. I have it in this color and black. I got it, let's just say last year. And it's just such a little harbinger of summer to me. By the time y'all listen to this, I will have, well, I don't know. I might not have gone to Martha's Vineyard by the time you hear this. I don't know which order I'm going to do the podcast. Just know I'm going to Martha's Vineyard. And this to me is such a nice, beachy, around town, hang with your homegirls dress. And so I'm really excited about my trip. You know, this episode is right on time. It's right on time, you all. Let me sit. I always sit cross-legged when I'm doing this. I actually sit cross-legged most of the time. This podcast is all about, can you tolerate peace? Can you tolerate peace? And this is something I revisit all the time. If you had one thing, don't lie to your life coach thing. I was about to say, do lie to your life coach. No. Don't lie to your life coach thing. It would be to revisit if you can tolerate peace. And sometimes peace comes dressed up as your brain not getting all those dopamine hits. And your brain is like, oh, I feel bored. Nope, that's peace. That's peace. That's peace. Peace does have its own dopamine, but sometimes you got to hang around with it until your brain can let off the gas enough to not be flooded with all that dopamine. Okay. Dopamine is like the desire emotion, and anything that hits, it just lights up your brain with electricity. And it's really not even the desire, it's the desire of the desire. So yes. Can you tolerate peace? I'm going to tell you guys a story. Story time, kids. So my cousin sister, y'all know what a cousin sister is? It's the country equivalent of a cousin, but she was more like a sister. My cousin sister and her husband own a beautiful house right on the county line of where I live. And it's in the woods, rural, beautiful, very picturesque house. Beautiful porch. It sounds like I need to go back. They got a great dog. I mean, it's great. It backs up to a lake, not a lake, God, Kim, a pond, man-made pond. The person who was there before them dug the pond. They actually have to maintain the pond. It's a whole thing, right? And it has a pier that goes off into the pond, and even you could get into the water. Y'all, I can't do pond water. I'm sorry. You can do lake and pond water. I can, yeah. So anyway, what year was it? Let's just say 2021. I would go there sometimes on Fridays and work, and just beautiful, picturesque. Sometimes I'd let myself in. This one particular day, no one was there. It was just me. And I was taking a break. I go from sitting in their beautiful front room to sitting on the porch. And I took a break and I walked out on the pier. And when I came to turn back around, I could see a snake, really nice size, long snake. Like, I probably walked over the snake and didn't even realize it when I went to the pier. And it was like in this little slat. So if you imagine a pier and there are these like little wood slats, but there's a little bit of room in between it and the snake is in there. And I was like, holy shit burgers. How the hell, like I had a choice. I could get into the water I don't get into, but the problem is it has like a pool ladder on the pier, but the only pool ladder is at the end of the pier. So if I got into the water with my phone, fully clothed, I guess I could have swam where it was low enough to climb out and go through some tick land bushes and all this and that because it's on a slope. I won't go do that. I'm way too country. I understand ticks too. I won't go do that. So my only choice was to go back the way that snake was. So there was a plastic red Adirondack chair, 2 of them on the pier. And I was like, I'm gonna throw this chair so this snake can go back in this water and it can get the hell up out of Dodge so I can get the hell up out of Dodge. So I threw the chair. The snake moved some. It didn't come towards me. I didn't even, you know what? This is the grace of God. I didn't even consider the snake coming towards me. I was so convinced that snake was gonna go in the water. So then I had to throw the chair. I had to go get the chair and throw it again. For some reason, I felt like there was only 1 on there. It could have been the second one, but I feel like I'm seeing a scene where it was 1. Had to get the chair, throw it again. The snake went in the water. So why am I telling you this? All right. I want you to think about that snake that kind of showed up out of nowhere. It didn't. It actually lives there. It didn't come out of nowhere. That snake, sorry, snake PR people, but I'm just going to tell you this. The snake represents, the lack of peace. You didn't even know it sometimes when you were in the lack of peace. Like I didn't know when I stepped over that snake, it was there. You didn't even know you were in the lack of peace. You had to do something, throw an Adirondack chair, didn't get you the desired effect. Your peace came back a little bit. That snake squiggled a little bit more closer to the water. You had to get that chair again, throw it again. The snake goes in the water. That's the equivalent of you doing what you got to do to get your peace back. And then I walked right across. Of course, I was shaking because I had reactions. I had feelings. You have feelings when you're going after peace. And I was able to walk back in the house, continue to get more work done. At some point, I got so engrossed in my work, I didn't even quite remember what it was like to have the snake situation or the lack of peace. That's what I want you to think about is, can you tolerate peace? You're probably going to have to do some things, a couple of things, and they might not feel good, but it's you backed against the water or you going direct towards the snake without doing anything, the lack of peace without doing anything. But at some point, you're in that peace so much, you just resume your normal life and you can't even go back and remember. You can't even remember your life before without that peace. How do we get there? How do we get there? Sorry, MrSnake.com. By the way, everybody thinks, where I come from, everybody thinks the snake is a water moccasin or a copperhead. It was a great northern water snake. It's always in the head shape. This snake had the typical like round head shape. And yeah, totally harmless, more scared of me than I was scared of it. Okay. I want you to think about peace not as a noun or even a destination. I want you to think about peace as a verb, okay? I come in peace are magic words to live by for yourself. Okay. So what do I have to do to get a little peace? And I want you, because I know a lot of my listeners are like me. They are reformed good girls, reformed people pleasers, reformed codependents, or reforming, who are trying to gain back the feeling of being attached to themselves, their lives, their loved ones in healthy ways, whereas they don't overgive. I'll put in the podcast, Overgiving Makes You Mad as Hell. Okay. And I have a podcast on codependency. I'll link that too. I want you to think about the little actions to take to reignite your peace. I don't want you to think about you not ever having peace, because it's not true. Even if you're having a really tough time, you have not continually, most of us, even in war-torn areas, you see children playing. You see people going to market. You see neighbors sharing. There is a peace that exists, especially in distress. Okay. So I want you to think about that, little actions. And I'll give you an example. So I had a meditation practice. So I started looking at meditation years ago, and I started with 1-minute meditations and got up to 3-minute meditations. That was really effective. Then I got to the point where I was doing 10-minute meditations with the Calm app. And then I got up to 20-minute meditations. Now, it just so happens when I ask a question, the universe always returns an answer to me. And I asked this question. I was having a really hard time giddy upping on this weight loss course project. By the way, it'll be out in the summer of 2023. So if you're listening to me currently, it's mere weeks away. And if you are listening to me after some time, if you go to kimarrington.com/weight loss, you can sign up to learn more about it. Okay. So now, and if you're listening to me later, I had to give up meditation because I was minding my business. I was on Instagram, and there was someone who put up a post that said, meditation can put you in a frozen response. So if you think a freeze response, if you think about fight, flight, fawn, freeze, and a freeze response is a do nothing. I can't move forward. And that's exactly what was happening. I was meditating, I was journaling, I was meditating, I was getting up and walking every morning, I was working out, I was doing all these things, sometimes journaling multiple times a day, reading a book, and it was a little bit too much. And I was like, what can I give up? Like, the walk is meditative. Even working out is meditative. I was like, I'm going to give up meditation. Instantly, I gave that up. And I started moving forward with the project. Was it a placebo effect? Meaning, like, because I thought it was that, did it happen? Who cares? Who cares? I did less and I gained more. So that's what I want you to think about with peace. Sometimes we think we have to do these huge, like, rebuild, redos of our, redo of our life. But the truth is, little moments of peace exist all throughout our day. Sometimes we just have to recognize, to grab hold of those. And sometimes we have to realize we're doing way too much. And that's part of what the self-development industry, I'll link that podcast, What I Hate About the Self-Development Industry. Sometimes it wants to fire you up so much to do so many things, when peace to me exists in the little moments, the little actions. So when I say peace is a verb, it ain't a big verb. It's a smaller verb. It's a noticing of where there's peace in your life already. That's a huge one. Let me say that again so you hear it. It's noticing where peace already lives in your life, because it lives in everyone's life. I don't care. I was walking I don't even know where I was walking the other day, and I looked over and I saw the man and the mailman have an interaction, and it was laughter. That is a moment of peace. The man stopped what he was doing. He was doing something to his car. The mailman stopped long enough. They shared a moment of peace. Peace is everywhere. You just got to look for it. Okay. So that's number one. That ain't even the number one I had. So let's talk about it. And there's this movement, especially among women and people who identify as women, as soft life. And everybody has a feeling about soft life. But if I were to define soft life, it would be realizing everything doesn't have to be hard. There's ease, there's peace, there's resolution, there's repair, there's rehabilitation. Let me see if there's any more words in there. There's like an ability to decide to do less to gain more. That to me is what soft life is. Like, I'm receiving, I'm not just always doing the giving. I'm listening, I'm not always doing the talking. I'm allowing for people to do for me. I'm not always there doing for all the people. Like, I'm noticing what I have. I'm listening to the tone of my voice. I'm using what I have. I'm syncing in my feminine energies in ways that I like, and not always running in with my sword raised, ready for a fight. I mean, I can bring that, but it's a recognition, an intentional recognition of slowing things down, of softening things, of allowing instead of always having to go full force, and manifesting, like magnetizing, bringing things forth to me versus having to go run and grab them. Okay. That was a sexy definition, wasn't it? All right. I said this before. Number one, you may feel bored, even complacent, even feeling like you're not doing enough when you embrace a life of peace. But keep going. I talked to you all a couple of podcasts ago about the mellow of the middle. So when you first start something, sometimes you swing all the way to one side of it, and then you swing all the way to the other side of it, like if it's on a spectrum, right? But there's a mellow of the middle. Like, I'm recognizing peace and I'm recognizing this is difficult too. I'm recognizing peace and I'm recognizing, wow, I don't want to really do this right now. I need to look at this. I'm recognizing the peace, and there's still other things that are happening too. But keep going. Keep going. If you keep going, your brain in the early stages is so used to your gas on the foot pedal, your gas on the foot pedal, your foot on the gas pedal, that it has to recognize the change, that you are slowing down, that things are different. So it could be a calm up situation. I had a buddy, Krista, who had a bad that said calm up. A calm up, like I'm doing a little more for the calm to come up, or a calm down situation. I'm doing a little less for the calm to calm down. Okay. So it can be a changing situation. Number two, I want you to identify what is standing in the way of your peace, or what bothers you the most. My mom always like, put a pencil to paper. Okay, I put my fingertips to the keyboard. That's what my journaling is just kind of keeping a light, low level look at like, what's going on? Maybe it's a high level look at what's going on in my life, what's bothering me. And I think for me, especially as a coach, because, I coach myself the most. And I teach my clients to coach themselves. So if you want some help with getting through some of your life transitions, there's no one better than me. Go to kimarrington.com and sign up for my wait list. My team or I will get in contact with you. Okay. So I want you to identify what's bothering you. I want you to identify what's bothering you. But then I want you to figure out if what's bothering you is the truth of what's bothering you, or if there's something deeper. Okay. I just did an episode, like I'm giving you all the resources, an episode called Hey You, What's Your Kryptonite? Where sometimes we have these core wounds that show up in symptoms. And the symptom isn't really the problem. You got to go deeper to find out what the problem is. And I think weight loss is such a great example of that, because on the surface, you'll think, oh, I've gained weight because I'm overeating too much. But if I teach you weight loss, I teach you, sure, overeating is a component of that, but we go deeper to figure out, why are you overeating? Who do you want to be, instead of a person who identifies as an overeater or who's doing this as a behavior? And how can we stick with it long enough for those new habits to come together to get what we want, the results we want, okay? I teach something called solving your spicy 3 issues. These are the biggest issues you have. You choose one, you dissect it, you get to the bottom of it. You know, you might hire a helper, a therapist, a life coach. You might go to a group, Codependence Anonymous, CODA, AA, Narcotics Anonymous. You may talk to a clergy. You may talk to a therapist. You may talk to a friend. You might YouTube it. You may do a couple of things, but I recommend, when we're solving an issue, when we do our spicy 3 list, the 3 biggest issues, we choose the one that would give us the most relief, the most peace. We work through that. And then as we're getting to the tail end of that, we might introduce the new issue, or we might just finish. And then we work through that. And we're also maintaining those 2 issues. Once they are feeling better, then we go to a 3rd issue. Well, this could be 18 months. This could be 2 years. This could be a year. This could be 6 years. I mean, it's as long as it takes. You're worth your time for as long as it takes. Okay. So another way of saying what's standing in the way of your peace is realize what's giving you peace and keep doing more of that. Like, what currently is giving you peace? I know my ass got to get outside and get back in these daily walks. I walked in the woods yesterday for the first time in weeks. I literally said, what are you not doing that you need to be doing? I have to change some of my timing to get out there for walks because it's hot. Okay. I already said this, get some help if it's too intense. You don't have to go it on your own. And sometimes like a partner and a spouse can, or a friend can go a certain distance with you, but they're not trained in holding space, even if they're good at holding space. And sometimes you need to allow yourself to let others be that space for you. Okay. Get some help. Help so much. More help than there's ever been. During the pandemic, honey, my health insurance didn't have people paying copays to see therapists. Like, how cool is that? Not all of us have health insurance. There's better health. There are ways and means. You have to ask people. People put up on Facebook all the time, what therapist would you recommend? What would you, like, sometimes you're open about things. You tell folks so you can get some resources. Beware of statements like, I just don't feel like myself. Don't say it. I'm not saying don't say it. But what I am saying, I had to get a drink of water. What I am saying is, maybe a new version of you is trying to be born. And by new, I mean the old version of you that you blocked off. I literally had a conversation with people one time. I was like, do you think a new you is born? Because I'm not really sure a new you is born. I think the you was born, and you spend your life trying to remember the you really are, and getting back to that so it feels new. But in actuality, it's like who you were or who you wanted to be, but you didn't feel safe enough, or you saw people being persecuted. If they did that, you were like, oh, hell no, I'm not going to do that. And sometimes this is on an unconscious level, which means you don't know it. Maybe a new or remembered you is coming, however you see it. You don't have to throw everything away you were. You don't have to throw away all your relationships. You don't have to throw away a marriage. You don't, like, Honestly, y'all, I said this in our last podcast, the two biggest distractors to me in the health of relationships are different attachment styles and technology as a distraction. That phone always in your hand because your fear of missing, your FOMO, and your difference in attachment wounds that show up, wounding. Okay. I'm going to put a resource. I'm not even going to put my podcast here. I'm going to put a resource called the Personal Development School. And Thais Gibson does such a great job with attachment. Thais is going to get me out of retirement. And I really think I'm going to do a 3-month certification in attachment, learning about attachment theory, because I just think it will make me a better coach. And I just think I can benefit from it in my relationships as well. But the one thing I want to say is when you really go through, if you decide to really go deep into attachment theory, I think you get to a point, and this is what, to me, a good attachment theorist does, is you may start off as avoidant or anxiously attached or avoidantly attached or fearful avoidantly attached, and you get to earned secure. So earned secure is your ability to coexist with when anxiety comes up, and coexist when you wanting to be alone comes up. Earned secure is you may not have had caregivers who gave you everything you need, but now that you've given yourself everything you need, or you've supplemented that in a safe way, your safety now is that everything isn't always like a fire, but I know when to step up and be like, yeah, like you can't do that. So, yeah. That was a little segue off of that. I just had to say that. That's been in my brain. I want you to, number 5, take some time to define what peace is for you today, even if that you is your remembered you. Okay. Leave a little space for change. Like that's something I always say to people, and even myself. I may come up with something that I think it is, but I always leave a little space to come back and look at it and be like, well, I thought it was this, but it's actually this. So leave a little area, a little place to not have been quite right the first go round at it. Okay. Like when I threw that chair, the snake didn't move the first time. It took another attempt. And that might just be my brain. It could have taken multiple attempts. I just remember 2, because I'm not in that experience in the same way anymore. Number 6, you're going to give up what exhausts you if it really is exhausting you. So the reason why I added that in there is because someone will be like, I'm giving up love. It's exhausting. Okay, no, slow down, leave a little space. Give up love that isn't seeing you, hearing you, knowing you. Do that for yourself. Then bring in a partner who's doing that. Say no to the first person who comes, who isn't, is just really wrong for you, but you want to have someone. It's not the love that is exhausting you. It is the unavailable partner. I was trying to come up with the word, the unavailable partner that is exhausting you. Become available, attract available, say no to unavailables, or not right now to unavailable till it is available. Okay. So give up what exhausts you. If it's really exhausting you, sometimes you got to spend a little time, dig around to see if that's really it. You can't spiffy up everybody and everything. You can definitely spiffy up you. You aren't supposed to polish shit. Oh my God, did Coach Kim say things and people are shit sometimes? Yeah. You can't polish shit. There's some artist who's found a way to shellac shit. That ain't me. What I'm saying is there are certain people who probably should be off limits to you. Prioritizing your safety may take a while for you to be attracted to that partner if you haven't been used to being attracted to a partner like that. Give up what exhausts you. If you are in a job that you loved and then you started overgiving like a mug and you hate going in the door every day because you can't say no, then it isn't the job. You got to give up the people pleasing and the doing everything. I had a client like this one time who was a teacher, and I had to say to her, like, when you go to your new school, don't be volunteering to do everything. You've been that person. Be in your soft season. She enjoys her school more. She's not always doing that. All right. Number 7. Get yourself a coach. I know number 3 was get help if you need it, if it's too intense. Get yourself a life coach. You can't always do this work as easily on your own. Okay, so Nicole Sachs, who is phenomenal, talking about the connection of our bodies and our minds. Nicole Sachs says, when your nervous system is in high alert, even the smallest trigger can feel like panic. So if you're my client and you tell me this, then I'm like, oh, that's not panic. And your brain hears it and it's like, well, wait a minute. I registered it as panic. And I was like, no, it just feels like that because this happened. So let's look at these things and let's reintegrate those, and let's listen to what your inner child is saying. And let's just think about, like, you're not the 8-year-old or the 15-year-old, you're like the 56-year-old woman. Let me remind you of that. My brain doesn't see it as panic. And when our brain tells you it's not panic, sometimes your brain, after some work, I can't say it ain't the first time when you throw that Adirondack chair at the snake, it may eventually get that. Your triggers can change. I think the new thing they're calling triggers is that the good stuff, even though triggers aren't bad, but like they're calling them glimmers. Glimmers are, I'm going to paraphrase it. I wish I had something to read, but glimmers are the good feelings, when you see the healing. Look, you know what? Y'all stay right there. I'm about to see what they call glimmers, and glimmers and triggers. Glimmers are internal or external cues that help us feel joy, safety, or connection. Triggers are danger cues that make us feel threatened, leading us to fight, run away, freeze, or fawn. Remember, I just said that: fight, flight, freeze, fawn. Okay. Glimmers are internal or external cues that help us feel joy, safety, or connection. Glimmers. I want to say this too. When a relationship's changing and it's had a lot of triggers, the glimmers may be hard to tolerate at first for both parties. But if you're consistently showing up for yourself, even saying, oh, it feels hard that this good stuff is hard to take, the safety is hard to take, your brain can change. Your reaction to it can change. Okay. Yeah. So I don't remember if I said this in this episode. I think I said it in the last episode where I talked about a client who was she's not a weight loss client per se to me, but a lot of my clients are on weight loss journeys, but sometimes I address more of their life coachy stuff. But how when you begin addressing those spicy 3 issues, like your body can release weight, the way that you deal with food can be different. Like, you can change up. And so that's what some of my clients experience is they're like, wow, I'm losing this weight and I feel like I'm not doing anything different. These are not my weight loss clients, because my weight loss clients, I put them through half-life and they do have results. Okay. But I'm like, yeah, because when you begin to be able to see the things that you've been unconsciously or consciously eating about change, then what you do about it changes too. That's how peace works. Like when you begin seeing peace, allowing for peace as a verb, all those things, then peace also showing up makes you feel safer. It makes you feel seen. It makes you feel heard and loved. And you may be doing that for yourself. Okay. Cool. So just to go over it really quickly again, peace may feel complacent and boring at first. Keep going. Identify what's standing in the way of your peace, or another way of saying that is realize what's giving you peace and keep doing that. Solve for your spicy 3 issues. Number 3, get some help if it's too intense. Number 4, be aware of statements like, I just don't feel like myself. Maybe a new you or remembered you is coming back, being born, however you want to say it. Number 5, take some time to define what peace is for you and leave a little space for change. Number 6, give up what exhausts you, but really make sure it's exhausting you and it's not a symptom of a larger thing. You can't polish shit. Number 7, get a coach. Okay. All right, y'all. Have a good one. Come back next week. Love ya. Mean it. Don't lie to your life coach. I feel like I need a zippy end of the podcast thing. And remember, y'all, don't lie to your life coach. I hate doing that. All right. Bye, y'all. Have a good one. Are you feeling what you just heard? Good, good. Repeat after me. You don't have to figure it out on your own again anymore. I'm here to help. Head over to KimArrington.com and download my free video series dedicated to getting you feeling your best right now. Look around, there's some good stuff waiting on you. Got questions? Well, we're always talking on the socials, so find me on YouTube, Insta, and the book. Don't be shy, y'all. Go listen to another episode or join me here the same time next week. Finally, don't keep good shit to yourself. Share this with a homie that could use some help too. Remember, we're not lying to ourselves anymore. We're not lying to our doctors. And you damn sure don't lie to your life coach.